today we're going to get a little personal, then we're going to talk about hardware, and then we're going to go into some importing from Japanese games. So, to start off today with Fabian, Valentine, and Max, we're going to start off with our best and worst games that we have ever played, and we can go from Max over, because I feel like we always start from here. On the spot.
Best and worst video game experiences. That's a good question that I'm just going to pass off to Fabian to start. No.
Alright, never mind. We'll go this way.
No, I'm playing. My best video game experiences had That's all.
Yeah, sorry. Drop the phone. Sorry.
Alright, so...
Alright, go ahead, Max.
Yeah. Honestly, I think my best video game experience... Yeah. Honestly, I think my best video game experience has been with Dying Light. It's a really well done game. Well, I don't know if about really well done, but it's a game that you can have a lot of fun in. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like weird little glitches that you see all the time. But those kinds of glitches are the fun kind of glitches where it's just like, I can do something really stupid that's funny. It's not the kind of glitch where it's just kind of like, wow, this breaks the game and is really annoying. And it's 4-player, so doing stupid things with your friends is a lot of fun.
I thought you were going to say foreplay. Just saying.
No.
I don't know why.
No.
It's fine.
No.
Keep going.
Yeah, like, I can always remember this one time where I would drop kick a zombie, like, straight up into the air, and then my buddy would, like, run in and, you know, just punt it, and it would go flying. That was great. Worst video game experience.
You can do that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's great. You get a buddy to
I knew you could drop kick, but I didn't know you could, like...
Yeah, if you drop kick and, like, aim up, they'll go straight up into the air.
Yeah,
it's pretty great.
It's pretty great.
Nah, not the drop kick, but the slide kick.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was slide kicking, and then my buddy was drop kicking them, and they would just go flying. It was great. Worst video game experience.
Or worst, the first one is worst game you played. Not the
worst game I've played.
Yeah, it was supposed to be best and worst games you've played.
Well, let's see. Well, yeah, Dying Light kind of worked.
That's fine.
Worst game I've played. So, this one time, I got this game for free. Yeah.
I love the way you say it.
It's not a free-to-play. It was not a free-to-play game. I got it for free. There's a difference. There's a couple of those games where it's just been like, wow, this is god-awful. There was 8-Bit Boy. It was pretty bad. It was like a rip-off of Mario. God-awful. X-Blades had trading cards, so I actually played it, because, you know, you can make a little bit of money off those trading cards, a couple cents. I know, but I did it.
Gotta earn
that
money there.
Yeah, that was just like the most generic, bland hack and slash with like titty girl ever. That's what it was. Like fan service. Yeah.
Best explanation. Greatest explanation.
Podcast, by the way, guys. Episode 4.
PG-13. Family friendly.
Oh wait, we can't. The algorithm's gonna... No, let's not do that. We'll make it as like a little sub in the description box.
So, passing it off to Valentine now.
Alright, so if we're just mixing and matching the topics...
I mean, we're not really mixing and matching, it was just kind of...
He kind of accidentally went into the experience part, but
yeah,
it's fine,
yeah.
It's fine. Mix it together.
Right, can you let him answer before you start mumbling, Fabian, please?
Oh, here we go with the mumbling thing.
I've ranted about Nier Automata enough. So, everybody knows that I love that game. Everybody knows that to me it's perfection. And storytelling, gameplay, all of that. Best game I've played recently besides that, Yakuza 0. There's just so much you can do. It's like Grand Theft Auto, but it's good solo player. Like, you can play it solo and you'd still feel the karaoke, the pool, the disco dancing, all of it just feels fantastic. The story, I have to say, was actually really fantastic.
I mean, you can't say Grand Theft Auto without specifying 5, because 5 story was all.
Yeah,
the single player in 5 was pretty bad, but you can't take like
GTA 4.
Yeah, you can't disrespect some of the other GTAs.
Yeah. That's like the best one.
GTA 5's story was not.
I'm just saying, like GTA as a whole, it feels like a game where there's a lot of people who mod it, or you need DLC to have full enjoyment. Like, you can still enjoy it, yeah. It's still a very like enjoyable and satisfying game.
In terms of 4, yeah, I can understand what you're saying.
But Yakuza just has like all of the ridiculousness and like the Japanese stereotypes that go into it, especially since it's set in the 80s, just kind of makes this perfect game of just hilarity. And I'd say that the worst game recently, I'd say Marvel vs. Capcom, but I haven't played enough of that, and honestly, when you play as Spencer and just kind of grapple the ceiling, it just becomes hilarious.
Yeah.
So it actually does get its enjoyment. I would probably... I'm gonna piss a lot of people off and actually say Life is Strange. I did not enjoy that game at all. I
can see those points.
I bought it. I got the first episode and was like, I'm going to give it a try. I played through it. I got kind of interested because of the time travel and all of that. Thought it was going to turn into something more. I watched tons of people play through them and like watched them go through it, and just the more they went through it, the more I just started hating it. And the ending, the only part that I can say I truly loved was probably when she... Spoiler alert for the game that's been out for like 4 years and 30 YouTubers have done.
Probably more than that, but you know,
yeah,
30 popular YouTubers.
There's people still doing it now because
the sequel came out.
Sequel came out.
Sequel, prequel.
Whatever.
Anyways,
whatever.
the only part I truly liked of it was when she goes into the alternate reality where her best friend is actually like on the hospital bed dying.
That's the best. That's definitely one of the best.
That was just a defining point, but then the rest of it just turns into this mess of...
I think I like that. I like it more than probably you liked it, but I would say definitely once Chloe dies.
It's like the one...
And after that point, it just becomes... It kind of starts to dwindle for me for just a little bit. I'm like,
the opening gives you that hook, and then it just cuts it off.
and then it just starts to like dwindle towards the end. Where it's just kind of like, okay, all right, things are happening. Once the hurricane comes and it's all this disaster, at that point I was feeling really unemotional.
Yeah, that's the part
I was feeling really unhinged at that point.
And then
I was just like, okay, it's whatever.
The ending happens.
I killed her, she died, and then I killed her again, and then that's it.
Yeah. So, Fabian?
Wait.
Oh, wait, Max,
I had something to say.
something.
Yeah, but like the first episode, that whole like big, there's a storm coming thing was the thing that put me off, and like I only played the first episode because of that. I
didn't get hooked in because of the storm coming. I got hooked because it was her trying to save her friend, and I thought it was going to be this cool like Steins Gate butterfly effect.
I feel like had they kept going with the idea like you can't save her, like she's gonna die no matter what.
I thought it was.
I feel like that would have been like such a really good over-encompassing kind of game, like. Having what's his name, Jeffries, whatever his name was, being the psycho killer, I was like, whatever. It was like a side story. You could have gotten rid of it and it would have been fine. It was just like an interesting little plot twist. And then the storm came, and at that point I was just kind of like, I was pretty disengaged with it. I was just like, all the good part of this was really like done. And I'm just like, okay, episode 4 and 5 was just meh.
I thought it was going to be this cool thing like Steins Gate where you go in and you have to keep it gets to like the halfway point, and then at that point you find out something, you have to keep rewinding to redo the choices you've made. I thought it was going to be something like that, and that would have been amazing, but it didn't, and it just...
do that every couple of times. I think they didn't push it enough as far as they could have.
Definitely.
Conceptually wise. But we'll keep going. Or did you want to do your... I guess since Max kind of mixed them, you can go ahead and do your best and worst experience, or funny experiences, or whatever you've had in a game.
I think I'll wait for it to actually get... Because Max didn't say his worst, he just kind of said his
you
best.
You kind of just said best.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I'm going to wait.
Go back. Okay.
Alright, so... recently, my best experience, probably Cuphead. I purchased the game, and I have a knack for games that are very difficult because I feel very rewarded when I beat the actual level. Like, even now, like, I miss that feeling when I used to be stuck on a level for like a week, and then when I finally beat it, it's like, I earned this, you know? Like, you don't get, like, this is not a game you can necessarily go online and look up a strategy or necessarily, like, look at a walkthrough, because in honesty, it's all about reflexes, timing, and then, like, patience. So, playing a game like that, it brings me back to like when I used to play like really hard games and beat it, and then like there's not a lot of games like that out there like that, and I appreciate that they made it that huge difficulty spike, showing that like you would look at it and be like, oh, this is a cartoonish game, it might be for kids, and then the parents that bought it for their kids, they can't get past level 1. It's just hilarious.
Bawling their eyes out.
Yeah, kind of.
What did I buy?
Yeah, I bought it with the intention of playing it with my baby sister. That is
Same.
not
Same.
gonna happen.
Same. It's just impossible. I literally told my
think
sister.
I kind of like that they didn't. They kind of almost, in a sense, downplayed how hard the game was going to be. So it kind of just hit you in the face.
Yeah.
It's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Like when we were playing the first level, which you can check out on our first stream, our second stream.
Whatever stream it was. We streamed it, okay?
Yeah.
It was not a very good one. I don't even think we put it up.
No, we didn't.
But we streamed it.
We didn't put it up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the frame rate on it was pretty
We
bad.
didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when we do, we have better software now, so we'll probably try it again at some point. Definitely, when we first went in, we were just like, "Oh crap, wait, this wasn't the one as I was expecting."
Wait, hold on.
Hold on. I'm getting flashbacks when I was a kid playing like Mario for the first time. It was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So definitely that.
Just learning the frequent boss battles, learning the patterns, learning the techniques and the best ways to beat them, knowing which weapons to use against them, such things like that. It's a big innovation in the game that it's just not. It doesn't feel brain dead to me. It feels like something you actually have to take time and learn.
Actually, it doesn't really feel like an innovation, but like a more
something that is just brought back.
Yeah, it feels very nostalgic.
Yeah, because a lot of games these days they try to. I understand what companies try to do to base it around their audience and make it easier so everyone and not just hardcore gamers can play it. But it's just like
Cuphead
Cuphead definitely this people that play video games are the only people that I see it can really. If you're a casual gamer, you probably are not gonna
enjoy it.
You're not gonna like it.
Yeah.
But
So that was your best. So now your worst.
Worst experience.
Or worst game that you've.
That's a hard one. I had a
all
lot
time
of
or recently.
Probably Elder Scrolls Online. That's probably a game I hate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember.
General consensus. Yeah.
I finished. I was playing Black Ops 3. I'm in college. I'm still in college now, but I was playing Black Ops 3, and I pretty much 10 prestige. I did all the things. I was like, I'm done with this game. My friend comes over. He's like, Yo, can we trade Black Ops 3? I'll give you Elder Scrolls Online. I was like, Oh. I get a new game. And
sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but like, just so the viewer knows, there's this annoying fly that is flying around, so you probably can't see it, but we're not just spasming. It's this really annoying fly that was flying around us for like 5 minutes. So
it's still here.
Anyway, it's like over there somewhere off camera, but hopefully it stays over there. But go ahead.
But
sorry.
He gave me the game. I gave it a shot. I hated it. Like once I put it in and I played it, I was just like, this is terrible. So I got the Dr. Disc version, and then like a whole year later, it was on sale after Morrowind came out. It was sell for $15, and I share my Xbox games with my brother, so I was like, oh, let me just buy it online too, so me and my brother played. Maybe the experience would be different. It was absolutely not different. It was the same thing. It was terrible. I hated every single second of it because I was just like, it's just so monotonous. Like even free to play MMOs I've played are way funner than that. Like it is ridiculous that I paid almost near like $60 for this game. Even for extra things in the game that you can buy, and it still didn't enhance the experience for me. I hated every second of it. I hated every second of it.
Spending $90.
Oh,
It's just so trash.
Yeah.
At least they said they're gonna fix some of the stuff with it, so it's not like Elder Scrolls where they didn't.
Maybe.
Nah.
Maybe.
So I guess the con comes to me. So best experience recently I did go back and I revisited doing Dishonored 2, and which I absolutely love. I love the Dishonored anyway. It's just so much fun. Especially for somebody like me who's like, I always go into a game, if you give me the option to do stealth, I go stealth. Same. Like I just love the idea of like taking that extra time to like sneak around and avoid enemies and my brother, complete opposite. Running gun.
Just run and kill everything.
Whatever. Make it so much harder. And
you don't need to
fought,
sneak
and getting that good ending felt so satisfying. Like getting the good ending where it was like everything is calm and peaceful was so satisfying. Considering there are times where I kind of killed way too many people. Maybe kind of camping under a table and slashing at kneecaps. But it's just such a good experience, and I think it enhanced the second one. And I played as Emily. I think maybe if I ever get it again to go through it, and the DLC that just came out, I'll probably go back and play as Corvo. But I did play as Emily, and it was super fun.
You never played as
Corvo? I think I'm gonna probably do one of those, no magic runs.
I did that. I actually.
Oh, it's so I can't even imagine because playing it. It was like I feel like they upped the difficulty as well, so like I couldn't even like imagine playing it without.
To be honest, actually, it's not that bad. I actually got all the achievements in Dishonored. I'm one of those people. I like achievements.
No, it's like doing 100.
Yeah, 100%
yeah.
game, and it's not really that difficult. To be honest, you can still equip runes, so it's not a big deal. You can still like do stupid stuff.
Okay.
I thought you had to not.
No,
maybe there were like separate achievements. There was like magic, and then the runes were separate.
You can still collect runes. You just can't have any magical abilities.
Like they don't boost your abilities.
It doesn't really. I
played the game.
I mean that's understandable. If it's not like if it doesn't enhance the magic but enhances your abilities, then I guess it's understandable. But
there's just some sections I'm just like, no. What are they? The soldiers, the ironwork or clockwork soldiers.
Yeah,
oh my god, those are like the worst.
It was a task, and once again, go back to the whole.
But it's worth it and fun.
Yeah, it gives you a reason to replay the game.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Really cool.
Worst games recently. Oh man. Oh, that's hard. I don't want to go back to Assassin's Creed, but like that's always my pinnacle of modern
bad.
AAA.
Yeah.
Bad. Black Flag.
Trash.
Sorry, I know it's controversial and like. Either people love it or they hate it. There was no middle of the pack. I'm part of the people who hate it. I thought it was like super like drag. It was pointless. Main character pointless. Had no emotions for him. Side characters loved that. All of them were like amazingly written and like had really interesting stories. But then Ken Wang was just like this boring blob who wasn't even actually an assassin. So I was just like,
he was a pirate. He just wanted gold. He didn't care about the Assassin's Creed.
He cared.
He just wanted gold.
I didn't appreciate it. I hated the long. I appreciated the out of Animus parts because I was like, cool. I'm getting to know the outside world, getting that information about like all this other stuff that's happened in the world, which is interesting. But then I would go back and I was like, I hate this game. Hate the grind. The grind was.
But the gameplay is generic Assassin's Creed that you have been getting
why
from number one.
Doing this?
I don't know why he did it. I was making fun of him.
It's never changed, and that was my worst experience. So then, I guess we can go from me back over that way. So then, funny or horrible experience that I've had in a game, I would say the funny one was definitely when I was playing Yakuza 0, and it's that there's a, sorry to spoil it, I won't go into like the ending of it, but like there's a side mission where you're walking down the street, you happen upon this lady who's standing outside, and she's like a sex worker, and you have to basically teach her how to be a dominatrix. And there's a point where you're doing it in front of children in a park, and it's just so hilarious and fun, especially like watching my mom play it. Like she was like, if you guys don't know, just like a side note, my mom really does play games. She was the one who got me into gaming. Like so, like her playing that. Like imagine my mom. Like imagine any mom just sitting there trying to train a dominatrix in front of children. Like that part was absolutely hilarious. I was in tears, and I think that's one of the funniest experiences. A horrible experience. Going to like one of my favorite games of all time, Shadow of the Colossus. I still think it's the 9th Colossus, if I'm not wrong. The one where you kind of have to like run around and avoid the little lightning bolts, and then flip it, and then climb on it. Oh my god, that's the worst because I think the horse in Shadow of the Colossus is the most trash NPC thing that you have ever used.
But when you get to the ending level,
when you beat the boss though,
I was so happy when the horse died because I was like, thank God, I don't need this thing.
He didn't die though.
I don't need this thing.
He didn't die.
When I thought he was dead, I was so happy because I was like, I hate this dang horse. It's so choppy and stupid. And
the horse was not
such a waste of time.
That game.
It was the most, and the 9th Colossus is probably the worst because you have to be on the horse.
The horseback simulator.
You have to.
Well, the snake one too.
Horseback simulator.
The snake one. Oh yeah, that was a little hard, but like I kind of enjoyed that one more because it didn't require as much as
true.
The running around in circles and zigzags to avoid this thing, and then flipping it, and then having your horse not be afraid when you run up to it. I could go on for hours, but I will not. So we'll go to Fabian. Funny and horrible experience in game.
Funny, I'm gonna have to go for probably Fallout 4. Basically what happened was it was a big glitch, and it happened on my second playthrough of the game. I remember I made like this really brawny guy. He was bald. I called him Clean. That was his name, just Clean, for obvious reasons. And basically, I just got my first suit of power armor, like from the town or whatever, whatever the first town was.
Yeah.
And I got out of my power armor, and basically when I got it, I turned around. My power armor was following me. Like it would literally just it would stand. It would do that little standstill. It wouldn't actually have an animation, but it would follow me. And then like when I got engaged in an attack of enemies, it would just roll up to them like this, and you would see their hit points going down, and it was creepy. It was creepy.
So it's just sliding.
Yeah, it was just like it was just like
That's so awful.
I was like, oh my god. But like,
That's so creepy. Is that funny or horrible? I don't
That's
know.
pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
It was cool because the advantage was I had 2 companions, and I named him Grumpy because he was just always like this. And it was just like, and like at night the light would come on, so it was like a nice light.
Oh god, it's like a searchlight.
But it was also kind of creepy because he would be extremely slow. So when I was running ahead, like I would just see a light.
In the shadows. Like,
And there was a time I crossed the bridge and it didn't go to the bridge. It just went inside the water. And I waited like 4 minutes and it just came out the other end. I was just like, Jesus, like this is too much. Like,
that's good.
and I purposely say I didn't want to ruin that profile, so I didn't go main quest. So I saved that profile so I can show everybody who wants to see. But for my most horrible experience, probably in Dark Souls, of the 4 Kings. It was probably the hardest boss in the game.
Max is like,
Dark Souls.
I'm talking about Dark Souls 1 because they had like probably the hardest bosses out of all the whole series. But like after New Game Plus 3, it's literally impossible to beat the 4 Kings, like unless you're literally the best. Because like the way the 4 Kings works is if you wait too long while fighting one, the other king will spawn. Like you have to try to kill the king before the other king spawns, or else you're gonna fight 2 kings at once. And like it can get to a point where you're fighting 3 kings at once. So, and in New Game Plus 3, they get so much health and so much defense and stuff. Like unless you're running a certain set of armor or weapons, you're not gonna be able to beat them like easily. So I was a mage, and a natural universal thing about mages are that high damage output, very low health, very low defense, whatever. So they literally one-shot me like every single time. I couldn't do anything about it.
Oh,
And I hated
like
everything. Like
loop of
yeah, it was just infinite.
dying.
But I was just like, I hated it. I couldn't do it. I was just like, okay, I'm done. Like it was just. It annoyed me to the point I was like, I'm done with this game. Like I can't do it.
Yeah, so, no. So, I played the first Dark Souls, and I killed a random NPC, and he dropped a legendary weapon. And I was just kind of like, wow, I'm going to start running around killing more random NPCs. So then, we were was it at your house? We were playing Dark Souls 3.
Oh, Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, so I'm playing Dark Souls 3 at his house. And we were, like, just passing the controller around. And I decided to run up and attack this one random NPC in, like, this kind of citadel area.
Oh,
well,
yeah!
That was pretty much an infinite loop of deaths until we figured out we could, like, sometimes get away with just running past them. That was pretty
so,
great.
I forget which... I think
and we were all
was,
drinking that night, too? Yeah.
It was the NPC that used to be part of the Artorias' Watchmen. The Watchmen of the Abyss. It was the deserter.
I don't know any of this stuff.
And
I
for
just
him,
know I ran up and hit him.
he has, like... He can switch to the great sword of the Watchmen, and he has a sword and shield, I believe. So, we're running around as deprived.
And I just ran up and hit him.
And this idiot goes up and hits him. So you spawn in the part where he spawns. So you spawn, and he runs up and backstabs you.
Good job.
Yeah, pretty great.
Yeah.
Oh.
Alright, so technically, so that was your horrible moment.
No, that wasn't a horrible moment for me. I thought it was funny.
Alright, so there's Max's funny one. So Max is kind of tapped out. He did his worst and his funniest, right?
No, he did his funniest and his
funniest.
funniest.
Dang it, Max.
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll go to Valentine. Try to keep the order here.
God, for funniest, I would honestly have to say playing, and Fabian's gonna hate me for this, and so will Max, playing League of Legends with my friend. There's this mode called One for All where you choose a person, and then everybody on the team will get that. Everybody on the other team gets somebody else. We were playing a game, and one of the characters has an ability where he can teleport to a certain area on the map. Every single time I would be walking by myself, all 5 of them would just teleport around me. It wasn't like, there was one time, there's this bush right around this triangle area, 3 paths lead up to it. I walked into the bush, I see all 5 of them spawning in each of the areas, so I had no way of getting out. All I see is them coming out of the ground and surrounding me. It was honest, like, playing it was priceless.
Yeah.
And that would have to probably be one of my funniest. I would say worst. I honestly am not sure because for most of the times with worst, I would have to say it would be a glitch. But then a lot of the times when I find the glitch, I'd go online and find out that nobody else has the same glitch. So it's just kind of like, yeah.
All alone.
But out of everything, I would say it's actually something from one of my favorite games, Dark Cloud. The final area in the North American release, they didn't put in the item that you need to get into the secret level and get all of the good items and equipment. So the final boss has, I think, 3 forms. You get through the first one pretty easily, and then the second one you can barely do anything about because you just don't damage it. You don't have the... So it's just... I have this...
So it's unbeatable, in a sense.
I think the save that I have has over 100 hours, and in that game that's pretty long. So I have the second best, strongest weapon for the main character, strongest weapon for all the other characters, and I still couldn't manage to beat him. So it was, yeah.
So what am I even talking
Your
about?
worst.
Your worst
You
now.
haven't
My
done
worst.
worse.
Let's see. Worst. Probably playing through, what was that game? Fear. So, no, hold on. So, like, Fear was a pretty alright game, right up until, like, what's her name just gets released. What is her name?
It's L something. I forget.
Okay, so creepy little girl gets released.
Alma.
And
Yeah.
yeah, something like that.
Alma. Her name's Alma.
Yeah, and after that, you're just, like, going through the worst parts of the game, which are, like, you're standing in one spot, and you gotta, like, spin around and shoot ghosts. And there was one part where you're in a warehouse, and all these ghosts are coming at you. And anytime I had to reload, I would switch to a different weapon until I ran out of bullets in every single magazine of every single gun, and just died because I ran out of bullets. And it was just kind of like, this was really annoying. So I tried all kinds of crazy things, and it just took me way too long to beat that section, just to get to that extremely disappointing ending.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that.
That would suck. You did all that work, and the ending just kind of sucks.
Yeah, and then the ending is like,
But hey, the
creepy monster girl is...
The way you felt after you beat it.
No,
because the ending wasn't satisfying enough, so it doesn't make you...
The ending just, like...
the ending is a
to 2.
huge cliffhanger, you know, you escape on a helicopter, and then she turns out to be on the helicopter, and that's the ending of that game.
Fear 2, you don't know.
Haven't you played Fear 2?
I did not go through Fear 2. No, I started to play Fear 2, and it was just kind of like, you know what? Not really.
Not
feeling
feeling
this.
it, yeah.
The first one ruined it.
Yeah.
Not doing this. Alright, so we can gotta go into our next topic, which are some game updates. It's only a couple of them, unless somebody else has another one. So we can first start off with Battlefront 2, the original one. These servers reactivated, some believe, as a ploy to kind of promote the Star Wars Battlefront 2 promotion.
I don't know about that.
That's what some think it to be, but then others are like, well, that's kind of dumb because everybody's hyped about this. No one's gonna care about that one.
Yeah.
The Star Wars Battlefront 2. So thoughts, reactions. I know you were pretty excited.
Yeah, I was really excited about it because that was personally, I preferred the first Star Wars Battlefront to that one, but it was still a pretty great game, and I never got to experience online play with that. So, really hype about buying that game on PC and getting into that.
I could definitely agree with that because I had it for PSP and that I couldn't figure out how to get online with that. That was like this confusing mess, but I loved that game for PSP. It was just one of the top games for PSP besides Crisis Core, I'd say.
So
we had a couple.
Do you think that they're gonna sell it for the full price, or are they gonna sell it for a kind of cheaper price?
It's still $10.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the classic, the one that just got the servers?
Yeah, that.
It's still $10.
Oh, well then that's simple.
Yeah.
So wait, is it gonna work for? I don't know. So do you think it's gonna work for like if people start the game now, it's just gonna like you can log in, or do you think they're gonna like? I mean, maybe do like a graphical kind of thing.
No, they're not gonna. They're just adding the multiplayer
Yeah.
because they did that with one of the other Star Wars games. I think it was some strategy game.
Oh, was it the Jedi Academy?
No, Jedi Academy had some kind of mod that people were excited about. I think it was like basically like a versus, turn it into a fighting game kind of thing. But I think it was Galaxy at War.
Oh,
It's like an
yeah,
RTS
yeah.
game. Yeah, they just added multiplayer for that a couple months ago, maybe. I don't remember. It was fairly recently.
Yeah, I mean,
How do you feel?
I feel as though like I mean, I'm very excited about it. Battlefront was actually one of my favorite games back when I was a kid. But it's like with Battlefront 2 coming out soon, I feel as though they're just catering to both player bases. Like they know some people are not happy with the new Battlefield type Battlefront. Because that game is definitely way more like Battlefield than it is actual Battlefield.
I feel like if they're catering to both of them, that's honestly would make me like the company more. If that was the reason why, because if the company caters to both fields and does it well, then that just proves to me that they're a good company and a company worth buying
So
for.
once the new one
Well, it was
comes
Disney
out, do you
that
think that they'll
reinstated the
maintain the servers, or do you think they'll just?
No, they're gonna
back
leave.
out?
Okay, so basically, to understand how this happened, you have to go back to the GameSpy shutdown, which was It's GameSpy, right?
I think so.
Yeah, pretty sure it's GameSpy. But GameSpy basically would host the servers for a lot of different games. Now they've opened it up so that you can have community servers. So even if Disney decides that
we're not going to do anything anymore.
yeah, they're not going to support the
Okay.
game, the community servers will still be up.
Okay.
So there's nothing. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like a nice little fan servicey thing. So people can
Yeah, I'd say
always
that's
go
nice.
Yeah, it's a nice thing from DICE DICE didn't make the game, right? Did they?
No, not two.
No, it was Pandemic, which has been shut down.
Yeah, they shut down.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, they had a lot of
it's
good
nice
games
thing
in the
from them.
works.
It shows that they're listening. They care about the fans, because remember like with the whole Call of Duty Infinite thing, where they remade the game and basically put in a package.
They forced you to buy the new game to get the second.
And then they came. It became a standalone release, but it was still just a
Eventually.
huge disappointment
That was like 6 months.
because they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna
sometime
remaster this game and then add in all kinds of stuff that people that wanted to play the remaster of the
Just
game
play the game
for
by
did
itself,
not
but
want
they had
at
the game.
all."
So it was, I feel as though they could have done that, but they learned from Activision's mistakes, and they were like, "We're not going to do that. We're going to look like the good guys."
They're not re-releasing the game; they're just adding multiplayer support.
I mean, it's not. But they could.
So it's
done
different.
That. It is different. He's right, but it's kind of like the.
In a way, it's
They
really.
could have
They
definitely
could have just
sold
been like,
it
"Oh,
part
we're
of.
only going to do this if you buy the game or something like that."
Yeah.
So then also, game update is that the Assassin's Creed, the new one, is now more styled as an RPG.
This
Or
is
it's completely
No,
converted.
yeah, they were saying it was just a
How
straight
it's
up RPG.
completely converted over to
This-
an RPG.
this is exactly what I said. I believe that was on the first
That was
podcast.
the first podcast that we all talked
Games
about.
are gonna turn into RPGs now.
Remember
Yeah,
the
we
Yeah.
just had that.
You did
Now
say
it's kind of weird. Like,
Remember the conversation about 2K and how they're making 2K?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing, just making every game
It's
RPG.
completely overhauled now.
It's
not
extremely
even-
smart on their decision,
Yeah.
honestly.
It's gotten to a point where I think like you said that RPG is just one of those things that has to be in the game at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the bare minimum that you're gonna see in the game at this point.
Especially.
Yeah, but we were just talking about little RPG elements. This is like full on traditional, more like Witcher style RPG.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it's explained as being basically the Witcher.
Yeah, so there's that's
So-
how they're-
Jesus.
honestly.
Yeah, don't know how I feel about that.
Don't
with
know how I
the
feel about that
style
either.
of Assassin's Creed itself, like as the way the style is with
That's
an RPG element.
I'm a mix of
Kinda just
excited and
apprehensive.
because
Like,
Assassin's
I don't know how
Creed.
it's gonna play because I'm like, okay, I'm playing this game, and it's not really Assassin's Creed anymore, is it?
The elements it had in two and one, the RPG elements in that where you could have your health increased and all, I liked that, and getting your own like your weapons upgraded, things like that.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
So the basic skill tree.
Yeah, I would really like a skill tree, but not necessarily
Yeah,
like
saying
leveling.
this, like, Yeah, it's leveling.
Yeah.
That's why.
Where
skill
like there's
trees.
enemies that'll be level 20.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what the article goes into how, they get the press release version, and the guy was like, oh, I tried to go do a mission way earlier, and I was completely destroyed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something that's extremely new though. Like in Assassin's
It's not
Creed 4,
new,
and especially
but-
before you know your ship.
Oh yeah,
But
the
because
ships did have levels.
Yeah, your
think,
ships
yeah.
couldn't
They
fight
did.
higher level ships, and you had to level up your ship.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like apprehensive.
Yeah, the way, because that's how I kind of didn't like it with Black Flag, but it was unbalanced. Because it was just like the amount of grinding you would have to do
the forts
just
were
to find the
ridiculous.
one ship out in the middle of this big ocean that has what you need to upgrade. Like, was ridiculous.
The
So
little
I
canoe
would hope
boats.
that if they're gonna do that, it's way more balanced and way more, not necessarily easier, like you should grind, but like don't make it near impossible where I'm spending hours just trying to find one thing.
I'm not sure how they're gonna
Yeah,
do
because
it.
I feel like this is new territory.
It's interesting though, definitely.
I think it'll be interesting. Is it are traditional Assassin's Creed fans probably gonna like it? Probably not.
Probably not.
I'm
I'm gonna say
definitely,
probably not.
I'm definitely not like going to order it or buy it new because I haven't bought any of them.
Not
yet.
gonna waste the money,
Yeah.
to be honest.
And Assassin's Creed has
They
been
don't have a good
repeatedly
track
letting
It's a
down.
game. It's a game you rent or just wait for sale.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna wait for reviews. I'm gonna wait for a sale. I'm gonna wait for all of that.
Black Friday,
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it's Assassin's Creed. Never, not playing.
it's a
I'm not
Call-
touching that
Call of
series
Duty,
again. I just
same
didn't.
thing.
Yeah.
It's this game that comes out yearly or bi-yearly.
The difference is that they're changing things up with this one.
Yeah, that's
But still.
interesting, but
Still.
It's
not-
There, Ubisoft has a
That's
lot to
actually
prove to me
serious.
before I can be so faithful. in
Yeah.
it, so.
Yeah, the past couple of games they've produced
Yeah, they've been a
have
little
been
bit.
like
I don't know. I've always been
meh.
I've always been pretty faithful to the Tom Clancy series,
play.
except for the Division.
Did you play?
Let's not talk about the
Yeah,
Division.
let's not talk about Vision.
Let's-
I was so
yeah.
heartbroken.
Even though the
Yeah.
kicking,
The kicking.
the photo that Lego posted in the Discord.
Oh no! I posted that. That was a pretty funny picture. But yeah, yeah. We'll throw it up in the community Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For you guys
which
to
will
see.
be linked in the description for you guys to jump into. It's where you guys can really just talk to us. It will always, mostly like Valentine and Tony are always in it, and we'll post memes
And please add
Please.
topics for us to talk about. We're gonna talk to topics. We're gonna talk
we
to
bring
you.
the topics, we put them on like a body pillow, we sit them here, and then we talk. That's how it works. So that's kind of just like the game updates. Anything new? Anybody wants to add?
The trailer
you've
that I
heard about?
posted.
Oh, the for Extinction, right?
I think that's the name.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I think you just mentioned it because I don't remember a
I
trailer.
posted an article with a trailer, and the way it works is
Random
it's similar
exterior.
to Attack on Titan.
Think
Like
Attack on
the
Titan,
gameplay-
and
like
then also
the-
think of Prince
it's
of Persia,
the
like
fan-made
2008.
No, it's the new one, but
Never played it.
it's
Wouldn't know anything about it.
similar in that there's the giants and you can like cut off their legs and things, and it'll hinder their abilities.
Yeah.
But it plays like she said, like Asia said, Prince of Persia,
Like the
where you have
2008 one.
you
where
have
it's really
ability-
colorful.
Played any of the Prince of Persia games?
The originals
I
are
own
really
one.
good.
Yeah, I
They
would,
gave one away
if
for
you haven't,
free,
You
and
should
I-
definitely
Yeah,
go
that
back
was a
and
new
play
one.
the good ones.
So
There's some
in
bad
them
ones,
you had
but
like
there's
you had
some
wall
really
running,
good.
you had these abilities that could like
Mhm.
push you forward, things like that were really amazing. And it's going to have those types of abilities as well as what looks like the Attack on Titan or Monster Hunter style thing where you hit a certain part, it will give you a material, and it will also hinder the giant's abilities. But
Yeah.
there's also mobs of smaller monsters that are like imps, like God of War.
Mhm.
So it's this
It's,
really cool
categorized as
aesthetic.
giant ogres
Yeah.
that you're battling. It's super. You think of it as like, oh, this is gonna be like a dark, kind of like a Shadow of the Colossus where it was dark colored and darker
Mhm.
schemes. It's actually really colorful. Like there's bright blues, bright greens. The blood is like a bright red. Like it's actually really interesting to look into. If you guys haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. I don't know. I think it'll be pretty interesting. It definitely like when you first watch it, you're like, oh, so Attack on Titan. But like for me, the art style, I was like, oh, Prince of Persia, like 2008, where it was like him and that girl
And
the
watching it again,
thing.
it just looks
it just looks really
spectacular.
engaging.
Yeah.
Definitely, and it kind of gave me almost like an Afro samurai vibe, just a little bit, like
The-
with the
just
the,
the
just the,
like
just
the
a hint
flares.
of the like the big dramatics and the way the character moved.
Yeah.
But okay, so we'll move on to our next topic, which is about some hardware updates that also came out, and we can start off with the PSVR. Basically getting a remake, which
I'm going to.
is gonna cascade into a lot of things that companies are doing now.
This is what companies have been doing. It's more that now with the big focus on game companies and the big focus on video games as a whole, we've been seeing it a lot more, and I think that's the problem. That's actually turning into a problem. Is that it used to be companies would release that stuff. We'd go into stores, we'd see it, we'd be like, "Oh, cool, new controller, like PS2, the wireless controller." You go in, you saw that after having a wired one, you're like, "Awesome."
For this is the actual hardware being updated.
Yeah.
Months or whatever, like a couple of months right after you spent all this money on it.
It's
just to have it be like, oh, now you can see it better. Now the graphics are better. Now the processing is better. Now it's not gonna lag as much. And it's just like, well, why didn't I get that?
It's something companies have been doing. So I'm not. I feel like people are exaggerating it, but at the same time, I feel like companies do need to start either putting out the full thing earlier, putting more research into it, or just offering these programs where if you did buy it, you can get a discount by returning it, which Sony has always been really good with customer service. I called them because my PS4 wasn't connecting to the controller. They were really fantastic. They weren't Microsoft where it's, hey, this is stuck. What do I do? Oh.
Yeah. Turning it off and back on again?
No. You call up Microsoft and try and explain that, you just bought a video game for your baby sister and it's stuck in your console and not reading, and they're just kind of like, before you even get to talk to a person, what is the serial number on your Xbox? And then you type in the serial number and they're just kind of like, please try typing in it again.
And you finally get the person and they're like,
go to a person. I don't care. I'm not doing any of these menus.
Press the manual disk eject.
Like.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know there's a button.
I shove a clip in the vent where they tell you to do this. And nothing happens.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I guess we can extend that also to kind of encompass like the Xbox One X, the PS Scorpio,
PS Scorpio.
I'm not sure what that.
I don't know what
Scorpio is.
The
coming out December.
Literally think the Xbox One X, but
for PlayStation.
That's what the PS.
It's kind of. I think it's almost like a joke at this point because it's just kind of like. It's like I equate it to like the iPhone. Like, okay, new iPhone comes out, guaranteed the next 7 to 9 months. The next iPhone comes out and you have to pay more money.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little. I think part of me is if I see we're gonna pull a Malayo and be like from the company side.
Yeah.
I can see where it's kind of like they're catering to like, okay, not everybody's gonna have a 4K TV because they're expensive. Not everybody's gonna have. This big, can do all the graphic things, so we give them the option of having something that's a little slower and that they can still play. But at the same time, it's kind of like, in this day and age, most everyone has something that can run that you don't even have to, even they project it as, it doesn't have to run 4K, it just can. So then it's just like, well, why?
Like, again, this is something that companies did. They did it with PlayStation 2 Slim.
Yeah, they just didn't make as big of a deal about it, I think.
Think of E3 where
and the other thing is that
entire section of
Scorpio,
just dedicated to
I had no clue about the Scorpio, and I actually try to stay up to date with Sony. I'll admit to being.
They were calling it. I don't remember. They were calling it the PS4K or something.
There's something like that, but
maybe they changed the name.
I know they had the VR as Orpheus originally.
There was all project names that were unreleased to the public and then got leaked. So
I had no clue about the Scorpio, honestly, and I tried to stay up to date on Sony. I'll admit to being a Sony fanboy. It's the original console I played on.
Wait, it's called PlayStation Scorpio?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Scorpio, I believe.
I'm pretty sure the Scorpio was the project name.
That's a project name.
The unreleased project
name.
Scorpio is Project Scorpio for the Xbox One X.
Oh, you're right.
I don't know.
Whatever the name of the thing was, it's the updated version of the PS4.
It's literally like when they did here's the PlayStation and here's the PlayStation Slim. It's the same thing, just all over again.
The new PS4 I didn't know about, and like I said, I'll try to stay up to date. But the thing is, Sony does this thing where they release it and they don't make a huge deal. Like, you'll see ads on TV, but they don't be like, hey, we have this, you need to see it, while
I would say Microsoft definitely pushes it way
Xbox
harder.
was Minecraft in 4K.
Yeah.
Look at
No,
this.
but,
Look at these pixels.
I still get those ads on YouTube.
Yeah, but companies have done this before. Like, we had how many different versions of the PS2?
The
and
Xbox
then the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
The difference is that it was the same price as, like, the original console release. This is more expensive than the original console release.
Yeah, that's the difference.
That's
where it's
the
That
like,
is
huge
a-
difference.
that is a
this
big difference.
Absolutely, like,
And
trying to grab the money here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I upgraded for the PS4 Pro recently, and they gave me a fair price on my PS4, so I'm not too upset. Actually, GameStop, for once, gave me a fair price on it, and that's why I'm not too upset.
Yeah, so I feel like Sony's a lot easier to deal with especially because with GameStop, like, they're very, like, the trade-in value for it, like, they'll be like, okay, get this, and you won't have to pay as
but
much.
they were very
but,
nice.
like, Microsoft is like,
Yeah.
no, gonna pay that, and it's basically the same thing.
That's why.
It just looks
yeah.
better. That's
Well, no, it's better
like
audio.
the biggest flagship of it though is the 4K aspect is such a big thing right now. Like, I feel like that's what they pushed more than like, oh, now it's faster, the processor's better, like things like that. Like,
Well, that's
I always
because...
talk about how about we improve downloading speeds, but that's fine.
Yeah, that
Like,
way.
we can worry about, 4K is such a big thing, but downloading speeds, we'll leave those alone.
Yeah.
The fact that it takes somewhere between, like, 8 hours just to download one
From
thing.
a disc.
From a disc.
Yeah, if it's
It's
not,
the
like...
good old days where you
Yeah,
put the
if
disc
you're
in
just
and play the
downloading from
game.
something else, it's fine.
I
But
can
if
get
you
the
bought the
digital.
disc...
Yeah, I can get digital, but the
Yeah.
the time between digital and disc is literally the same. That's ridiculous to me.
It's not. It's not.
Almost the
Disc
same.
is worse.
It's almost the
The
same.
only
Depending
thing,
on your
Depends
internet
what you
speed.
do.
Nah, I'm
Yeah.
just saying,
Yeah.
like, when I try to play Prey, oh my god. You try playing Prey, you see
Not on Xbox.
Okay. You play
Yeah.
Prey, right? Oh, you
Yeah, I
didn't
was
play
so done with Xbox
Okay,
by the time it came out.
Anyway,
like,
I'll
the,
sit back and let the
the
hard
little
games Sony.
the loading times on console for like a game like Prey,
Oh, God.
who have massive like open world areas, it's just like it's ridiculous.
I didn't even... Prey didn't have massive... Like, it had the
not
space
massive.
sections.
It's just like like they
When
have
they did
really
have
really
it,
big
it
open
just-
world. Like they have like 3 or 4 big open world sections, like where that elevator, it just seamlessly goes to the next area. It's not like, you know what I mean?
I don't think it seamlessly goes.
Alright, it's not
It
seamless.
probably is like a loading in the background kind of thing.
That's not like Fallout where it's loading.
Oh my... Fallout was the worst.
Hey, you know,
It's
Even
like
on
you'll
PC.
be sky,
It'll be
like,
2 floors,
walking,
and, like-
it's loading as you're walking.
Yeah, let's
Oh,
not
yeah,
talk
it's
about
so
Fallout 4 loading times on anything, please.
I've had no problems with loading times.
On Fallout 4?
I didn't actually for the original PS4
well, yeah.
too.
I'm a console pleb, so those are console pleb.
Yeah, I
issues.
really do it. I just think that like I just don't appreciate the whole like, oh, it's in 4K now. Like, okay.
I feel like that's an Xbox
That
thing.
This
should have been
thing.
a
Fine,
feature. Should have been a
cool.
feature when
Like,
it originally
I
came
don't
think
out.
I feel like for a lot of players, like I just don't think it's that
I'm-
big of a deal.
I'm going to
like,
admit-
between normal what it is
For a
now,
console player,
normal
yeah.
things in 4K. I don't think it matters, especially on console. Like it really,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
I'm going to
but-
admit that I talk a lot of stuff to Xbox people, but honestly, like, that's your console preference. It's same with PC. That's your console preference. I'm all for you having that. Congratulations, good for you. But the companies themselves do have, there's different ways of doing things. You go on PS4's website for the Pro, they have enhanced loading times, and it lists it, and then 4K is at, like, the bottom. Microsoft is...
Minecraft.
You go on...
Minecraft in 4K.
Yeah.
As soon as you boot it up, it's just that, and then you have to go into the website.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just how I feel about
Yeah, I think ethically, it's kind of just
Sony is.
it's not a good practice and it's not appreciated. So. And okay, I'll pay more if like download speeds are better. Like I'll pay that.
PS4 Pro is.
Having the idea that you like buy your game and you can't just play it the same day you buy it because you have to wait.
Well, no, you can play it the same day,
Yeah,
but it's
if
more
you
like
buy
a
it.
game demo because
Yeah.
Yeah, like some
you
games,
can't play the
some
full
games
game.
you can't even play at all until it finishes downloading. but some
Final
games
Fantasy
you can. 15. Right, so some games you can play like
Destiny.
a little bit of it
I was so
while everything's down
Your
in the
game is
background. I
ready to play.
appreciate that
It just
better
goes to
than
a
just
loading
like,
screen.
yeah.
It was just like, are you kidding me right
those
now?
are the worst where it's just like, oh yeah, I get to play it. Loading screen, and you're just like.
Now the worst ones were when you
so
play the game and then the game has like an inside game update.
Oh yeah.
Street Fighter V on PC. I download the game, launch it, and then it's just kind of like a title update is available. As soon as you click, get through the splash screen. And it was just kind of like, why don't you just update through Steam? Why?
Why
do I have to launch the game to get the newest update?
They gotta make it difficult for us.
Yeah.
Can't just enjoy it. So, I think we'll wrap that one up and we'll go on to our last topic of the podcast today, which are the Japanese games getting imported to America, which I feel like it's always been somewhat of a problem, especially for games that are really popular here in America. They're just kind of like, oh, we're going to hoard this for like 2 years and then you get it. And it's just like, especially with like the Yakuza series. Like.
The Harvest Moon game, I did find out that it's actually not being transported yet. They did.
Oh really? I thought it was.
They're doing updates in Japan, and then they're going to think about.
They're going to start it over, yeah.
The only thing is that for Japanese imports, I do have to agree. Like, there's still like Mother, or Earthbound that still hasn't come to America like officially. People have always been upset about that since it came out in like the 1980s, 1990s.
We don't even have Mother 3, don't we? We don't have
Mother 1, 2, or 3.
I want to play with Lucas.
And
it's crazy.
Like, people have to port that themselves. There's also this is going to be weird. Talk about visual novels. I'm a personal fan of one called Grisaya, and if you're under 18, don't play it, don't download it. If you have depression problems, don't play it, don't download it. That's how bad it is. But it
Max
was
looking like the concerned
Yeah, I remember.
father
No. Like I remember him and Tony talking to me about it, and I was just kind of like, I'm so disappointed in you guys.
No. Okay. So there are inappropriate scenes, but the way that it was written, like even as a fan translated novel, it got me so into the characters, and the inappropriate scenes I just skipped over because.
Oh, did you now?
Yeah,
totally.
Believe
that. I really believe that.
Yeah. But anyways,
comment down below whether you believe Valentine.
I love that game. It was fantastic, but it was fan translated. Like it took a while for that to be released.
Yeah, with a lot of it is like all fans just importing it because they're like, I'm tired of waiting for these people.
At the same time, Japan has this like. They release the games in Japan, and then they're not fully, like, playable, actually. People don't see that a lot.
Here, they get the game, and then it's like, oh, it's trash, but we'll update it.
Assassin's Creed Unity.
To make it playable.
Where people were missing faces.
But here it's like Japan's
it's either like
the game has had enough.
Either get the game when it's trash, or you get the game.
Yeah.
No, that was probably the biggest one.
But
yeah,
like here we have them released fully globally, and then they're not even finished.
For the most part.
Yeah. Japan has it where they release it in Japan, then they fix it, then they release it here.
And then when they're done with it, then they toss it over here.
Which is why Japanese imports are interesting, is because at the same time, Monster Hunter World's being released globally at the same time. Other games that are like that haven't really come around for a while. Monster Hunter Double Cross, they said they're not releasing for the Switch. People changed their VPN to Japan and downloaded it from Japan.
Yeah.
So it's
what's necessary. It's what's necessary.
Yeah, it's like
necessary evils,
Yeah, it's one of those things where Japan has this hoarding, but then people download it and see that it's not completely
I'm definitely
finished.
excited whenever they're like, ooh, a new Yakuza game. I'm like, yeah. Like, but
Kiwami 1 and 2, yeah.
Forever. Yeah, I have a Kiwami now, the first one, and it's honestly like kind of go back to what we were saying earlier with this like really goofy like Yakuza 5 is really goofy. Like going back and playing the first one, you realize like it's actually really darker of a game. You're like even the like I was just telling my mom because she's playing it now. She's just like, and I was like, Mom, you ever notice like how dark these side missions are? It's like you're always being swindled or scammed. And then and then 5, it's like, oh, we're having like it's all about, you know, sex workers and weird people and you think a typical Japanese game, you're like,
which
oh yeah.
It's actually a very good point.
I feel like that's how the Saints Row series has gone. Like, if you play 4, you're just kind of like, oh, it's this, you know, crazy mess. And then you go back and play 2, and you're just kind of like,
that's
whoa.
A very good point to bring up as well is Japanese games traditionally have been either... Say what?
No, go ahead.
They've honestly been either way too dark for Western audiences, or they've been completely the opposite direction and way too weird.
Wonky that we're just like, I don't know how I feel.
I feel as though like with Japanese games, it's like their tolerance for certain things is a lot higher than for like Western.
What they think is weird is normal for them. Like you could look at like Persona 5 and like some of that stuff you're just like.
Like,
what?
I play some Japanese games and I see some really weird stuff and I'm like, what? I'm like, is this normal?
White Day is also like that.
And they're very like aware of it.
Yeah,
they know how we see them and they're just like, okay.
They accept us or not.
There's a lot of like weirdness in like a lot of Japanese games and it's just like,
it's another thing to like be aware of is that there are a lot of like cult games in America, like. Grisaia's one of them. Harvest Moon it was a cult game, but it gained a lot of popularity recently. I'm honestly not sure why. It just suddenly randomly... Oh, Stardew Valley, that's why.
Hey, my game.
Harvest Moon was the original Stardew Valley, and so that came out...
So then people were like, oh, I like this, let me go back to this.
Yeah.
Stardew Valley,
and like, people need to realize that the cultural change is going to mess with them a little bit, because like
me playing Valkyria Chronicles.
Some people will just kind of write it off, and I'm like, no, I promise, this is like accept me of it. Just accept how weird it is.
Me playing them and seeing it as just, I'm just like, stereotypical Japan. This is hilarious.
Yeah. But other are like, oh, this is really dumb.
Especially the Burusera one. A lot of people will be like, oh, this is disgusting. Why would you? But Japan's just like, this is hilarious. This is comedy gold.
Because I mean, you can even extend that to like their television shows. Like when you see the clips of them, and you're just like, why is this a thing? Like I think there was one where it's like they have to sit in this like inflatable freaking tub thing, and there's water, and there's an alligator, and they have to sing a song while the alligator's like climbing on them and things like that. And I'm just like, what is the purpose of this show? Like, why? And then you look at America, and then we have like these very straightforward or like these very dark shows or things like that.
Yeah, we have more.
Now it's very dark.
Western
I think
stuff more violent. And
that's
I would agree. I would say
Western stuff's more violent. Japanese stuff more weird. But that's like in the
there's
sense of the West.
Also a trade for that. For imports.
I don't know about being more violent.
It is.
Have you seen Corpse Party?
Yeah, they have a lot of like
things
that take violence to the extreme.
Like ours is always like a mild. Like you're not gonna go in the depth. Like Japanese is either it's super kawaii or it's super disgustingly dark. There is no in between. America's that in between.
Once he's a Corpse Party.
It's also like Japan has that. They also go from very goofy to very dark very quickly.
Yeah.
There was Tales of Berseria. It just brings up copyright and censoring too. Is you started off and you're like, oh, I'm gonna play as this like hopeful young girl and I'm gonna go off on an adventure for my little brother, and this isn't a spoiler because it's literally like 20 minutes into the game. And then in the Japanese version, the guy that's supposed to be your mentor just straight up stabs your brother. In the American version, we censored that and made it magic because that makes it so much better. And Japanese...
Yeah, there's a little bit of a censorship in between when they do reports over because they're like, oh, people aren't going to like it.
We have these weird... Like, America has this weird censoring for Japanese games. Like, if you look on censoring lists... They change it to something that's pretty much exactly the same, so it gives you the same definition, but they don't make it straightforward.
They do that with even like translating what they're saying.
Tails is a big offender of this. There's tons of scenes where they censor it.
Also
Dragon Ball Z.
is a big one.
I mean, if you ever watch anything dubbed versus subbed, you already know.
Yeah. So like all these imports aren't coming because of censorship issues. They're not coming because cultural issues. They're not coming because of all this reason.
Yeah, because it takes a lot on their end because they're like, okay, we have to do all this and be regulation. Because it's not like they just send it over here and then we do all the work. No, they have to do it over there.
Yeah.
On top of trying to maintain the game they've already made. That's why it probably takes long.
Yeah. So Japanese imports have this really like interesting dynamic to look at.
Awesome.
Good input. Good.
It was like he just was like awesome, like you're gonna put the little ting.
Okay, okay, Ryu. Good.
But I guess that kind of wraps up today's
there's
episode.
one more
Unless
thing.
if you want to add something.
There was a little movie topic that I actually learned about yesterday.
Oh.
Did you know they pulled the Punisher premiere because of the stuff that happened in Las Vegas?
Really?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
They pulled the premiere of the.
I didn't know it was in Las Vegas. Wow.
The premiere.
Yeah, it was in Las Vegas.
Comic-Con happened in Las Vegas, and they were going to premiere the Punisher at Comic-Con, and they actually pulled it back because of the unfortunate shootings that happened in Las Vegas.
There was actually a Lilo and Stitch scene that was deleted because of 9/11.
Yeah, I saw that video.
Yeah.
Where they literally, so like, you know, it's just these crazy, stupid events that happen, and it messes up a lot of.
That messes with Americans.
I know when KSI was doing his video for Creature, he was saying how what had just happened with Grenfell. If you guys don't know. I watch a lot of UK YouTubers, so I kind of keep up with all that. So, yeah, they're going to check out.
Just sit
and
back
I'm just saying, they had a Grenfell, or Greenfell, I think. It's Grenfell or Grenfell, I'm not too sure. It burned down, and, like, it was this huge thing because, like, the government wasn't really helping all these people who literally lost their homes to this apartment complex burning to the ground. And so KSI had this like part in his music video, which he happened to be filming, where it was like they're running through a building and it's on fire, and he was just like, "Nah, I'm gonna cut that out because I feel like it's a little too soon considering what everybody went through." And I think it's the same as kind of just like, I appreciate when people can just be like, "I'm not gonna just do something for the money or do it for the publicity. I'm gonna just like, we're gonna not be insensitive.
Yeah.
We're gonna just care about these people's feelings." You know?
That's a really good point to look at for movies and YouTubers in general, how they edit things out of just
trying to be
sensitivity.
Respectful.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes there's this line where it's like, this is needed to be said, versus when it's just like, let's like cut it out to make it thing. But we can save that for another time because it's kind of impromptu, and I don't think we're all prepared for like
that
examples like off the top of our heads. Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, like it was kind of impromptu, and I feel like maybe we'll pick that up for the next podcast episode. Definitely. I think that's a good topic to kind of go into.
Definitely.
But we will wrap up this podcast episode saying thank you guys for watching. If you got all the way through, especially thanks for watching. We do
You're
streams
amazing. We appreciate you.
This is where we get to look into the camera now.
Yeah.
We stream every Tuesday between 8 and 9 o'clock. We'll post over on our Twitter. You can check us out at Screenhops on Twitter. That's where we'll be posting like what we'll be streaming. We'll also do that on our Facebook page, which is also Screenhops. Also, you're more than welcome to go in the comments down below, go on Facebook, Twitter, or check out our Discord link in the description to leave topics that you guys want to hear from us, because we do want to engage you guys. Is that everything? I always feel like I forget something every time we do this.
Now you got it, girl. It's all done.
Alright, and then, so we do post these every Sunday. We'll let you guys know if anything happens and we can't post these every Sunday. So please do leave
We post
a like.
them every Sunday.
Please do leave a like.
I will also lean into the mic.
If you guys have any suggestions or comments or inputs, please leave that in the comment section below, or hit our Discord, Twitter, or Facebook. And yeah, if I've plugged that enough, we can do like little plugs here. Editing, Dylan.
Yeah.
That's what happened to Dylan, by the way. You know the.
You know that one guy from like the first two episodes? Yeah, he's an editor now. So
yeah, things
unless you
happen.
guys want him back. And
not talking and staring into the camera
Yeah.
the entire time.
Yeah. If you guys want that, we can always bring him back. All for the fans, you know. But we will wrap up that episode. Thank you so much for watching, especially you got to this part. And goodbye.